It's now time for the companies to present. We are going to have them present in alphabetical order. But before we present, I want to thank the judges who invested so much time in grading the companies, looking at them. And these include Eitan Yudelevich of the Bird Foundation, Avi Feldman and Sherry Schaefer of Capital Nature. Michal Vakrat-Volkin recently built the 3M Center in Israel, but in the past she actually worked for Xerox PARC. Miki just mentioned the innovation in large companies. Xerox PARC story is known. Gaia Loren, Dotan Bornstein from Hutchison Kinroth, Noam Ilovich from Auto Agronom, and Roy Wiesner from, again, from Hutchison Kinroth. Thank you all. And I'd like to ask the first company to start, and this is Blade Range. Blade Range.
Someone here want to hear my speech in Deutsch? Yeah? Yiddish? Herzlich willkommen. I'll do it in English. Okay, my name is Asaf Friedler, and I'm one of the founders and the manager of Blade Ranger. We develop an autonomous cleaning and inspection system for the solar power industry. Cleaning solar panel is critical due to the effect on energy production, places where we have a desert, so we have lots of soil and dust over the panel, and we know how to clean it. Using our solution, maintenance costs of the panel can be dropped by 70%, and maybe more important is that we take care for increasing the production by up to 40%. And how do we do it? We developed a special software solution, a kind of an operating system for autonomous robots. We have two kinds of robots. We have drones and we have cleaning robots. The drone part is to go over the field, view it, and do inspection and diagnostic of the solar cells. And then they have another mission. They know how to pick the little robots down there from a hangar, from a base station. They're like an iRobot for solar panels. Take them and put them on the solar panels on the rows that you can see at the left side that are covered with sand and soil. What I'm about to show you right now is I'm just pushing a mobile application, and we'll see a short movie. We just attached a GoPro camera on the cleaning robot. It's like an iRobot, a very smart one for solar cells. Everything you see here is done autonomously. No one is controlling any control unit, no joysticks. Just move over the solar cells and sweep the sand and the soil away. This is the Blade Ranger team. We have expertise in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, software engineering. We have Professor Gal Kaminka, who is a world expert in the field of groups of autonomous robots. We are partnered with Cognitive. Cognitive is a leading robotic technology company, a software company. We are partnered with Bar-Ilan University, and we get great support from Capital Nature. Everything I've showed you so far is backed with great patents, and we have a very strong IP in the company. As for our customers, well, they are solar park owners and operators, maintenance and cleaning firms, installation companies, and all kinds of photovoltaic sites. We have a great opportunity here to start and sell the cleaner robot, again, like an iRobot for solar cells. We call it Pleco. In a very, very short time, but when we'll be ready with between 6 to 12 months from now. So we are able to start sell a part of the total solution, the cleaner, and then we can add the drones and give our customer the whole solution with the drones and the base station and all. The photovoltaic market, as you probably know, is a huge market. The production in 2020 will be more than 700 gigawatts. And we believe and we can understand that in 2025, the production will reach between 2,000 and 3,000 gigawatts. As for the competition, well, in most places in the world, they are still using humans to clean solar panels, but it's very, very expensive. In Europe, in some places, they're using huge tractors with large brushes, but this kind of solution needs water, and we don't have a lot of water in the desert, where most fields are. There are some robots that are controlled over here, that are controlled by humans. It's a bit tricky to operate them because they need special people to handle it. And the last one, there are some companies with robots that are attached to the solar panel rows. This is a bit of a problem because they need a tremendous amount of robots. For example, if for 5 megawatts we have 100 rows, this solution must have about exactly 100 robots. We can do the same job with only 5 robots. And as for our vision, we want to become the player in UAV-based service and maintenance. Our generic solution would fit security and surveillance application, buildings, farming, skyscrapers, and any other complex structures. Think of robots that are cleaning windows, for example. Thank you very much. Against 5 robots. So there is a huge difference in this term. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you transport the robots to the site?
The drone picks them up from like in hangar. And we have a very smart connection between the two robots, the drone and the cleaning robot. Takes them, put them on a row. The cleaning robot is working, sweeping the sand away. And when he finishes, just call the drone. The drone is taking him back to the charging station. One more. Well, with 5 cleaners and 3 drones, we can clean this size of field, like 5 megas, between 2 to 3 times a week. That's enough. Last one, yeah.
No, we have to go on. Thank you,
I'm sorry.
Asaf. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Asaf Riedler, a Blade Ranger. Next, I'd like to call Oren Ezer of Electrode. It's very interesting to see innovation, interdisciplinary innovation. 4 years ago, we actually had a company whose product was a mix of a GPS technology, solar cells, fintech, and cryptography, a company that actually did very well after the competition. Oren, floor is yours. Hopefully.
Hi, everyone. My name is Oren from Electrode. We all agree that air pollution is a global issue. More than 50% of the population currently lives in urban areas. More than 60% of all travels are made with an urban environment. All pollutant will cause approximately 8 million global fatalities. By 2020, 1/4 of carbon emission is caused by the transport section. So one of the keys to address this issue is a shift to electric mobility. Let's focus on public transportation. One option could be using this one, a trolley bus. This is an expensive solution with high maintenance cost and definitely not friendly to the environment. The second option, which is more common today, is using electric bus with a battery. The main challenge facing this approach is the limited energy storage capacity, which result in a battery that weighs a third of the bus and costs almost half. 5 tons, $250K. Imagine loading an orchestra before even taking the first passenger. Electrode takes a different approach. We removed the energy source from the bus and power it wirelessly from a minimal infrastructure on the road while driving. By removing the energy source, we dramatically reduced cost and weight and eliminated the range anxiety. So Electrode, in cooperation with bus operators, will offer a green city bus line solution. So, our system contains 3 main parts. Receiver, placed at the bottom of the bus, transmit the energy directly to the engine at the same format like a battery. It will be easy to adjust in any electric vehicle. The second one is a conductive stripe installed under the traffic lane, 8 centimeters below the asphalt, and transmit the energy wirelessly to the receiver. And the last one is smart inverter, transform the energy from the electricity grid, RWE, and transmit it back to the stripe, and communicates in real time with all vehicles within the system. The stripe is passive, made of segment 1 meter each. And when the bus rides over it, only the segment below the bus transmit the energy to the receiver. Thus, the solution is safe. The bus has small energy source as backup in order to enable to drive even 50 kilometers without the stripe. And our technology is very easy to deploy. Our goal is to reach 1 kilometer within 1 working day. So it's not a dream. We have already a system. Here you can see our first deployment in Tel Aviv and our system, including an electric car and 25-meter stripe. Our go-to-market is public transportation, huge market. We would start in Europe, which is more open for a clean solution in the transportation section, and with a budget around $7 billion through the Horizon 2020 program. And then, of course, we will face China. Here we can see that our technology, it's not only green, but cost saving. The payback on the infrastructure will be less than 4 years, and after 12 years, we can see that our system is half the cost as compared to diesel buses. And of course, there are several alternatives in the market, but they are all expensive. Our solution is 5 times cheaper than a trolley, with huge reduction in maintenance cost. Business model, we have several options, which we are validating right now. But first, we will sell the equipment and we will run the project. So what have we done so far? We raised seed money. We won 3 grants, 1 from the Horizon 2020 program. We have a prototype, and our goal is to do the same pilot which we started already in Tel Aviv, to do it in a city in Europe in 2018. And we have a great management team, fully complementary with each other. I'm happy to say that our CTO, Hanan Rombach, is one of the leaders in power electronics, especially with a wireless power transfer. Thank you. Go ahead. Yes.
Similar, maybe similar, I don't know, a project in South Korea
Yeah.
a few years ago already. What is the big difference? What is the main difference?
They call it OLEV. A similar project from South Korea. It's OLEV. They are charging a battery while driving. We are electrifying the engine. No need for a battery at all. The system of cost, I think it's around $1.2 million per kilometer, so it's not a real solution. And you need to create the whole road from scratch. It's not good. Not good enough.
So it's a real
We are not charging, it's very important to say, we are electrifying the engine. You don't need a battery at all.
Are there any health implications for the passengers?
Can you repeat the question?
Repeat it, I didn't hear it.
Any health implications?
No. Very easy.
Radiation.
If there is some hazard for the passengers or whatever, no. Definitely no. We have several patents in this specific area, and I'm telling you that we are 10 times lower than the standard.
Snow on the road, does that affect the...
No snow, no dust, no mud, nothing.
What do you mean electrifying the engine?
The electron will come from RWE, for instance, directly to the engine. You don't need battery, you don't need fuel, you don't need nothing. It will come through wires and then wireless directly from the receiver to the engine. So you don't need some unit in between. You don't need to charge nothing. Like KAIST, they are charging, recharge the battery, and the energy comes from the battery. Our solution is directly to the engine.
What is the air gap between the peak air?
Depends. 35, 27, depends on the city, the road, the bus, so it's flexible. We can do...
If it won't do it, you can use it in freeways everywhere in the world?
Not this technology, but look for Whitetricity. Whitetricity from MIT, they are doing it all over, but not that much energy.
There's a question over there. Okay.
Is there any limitations with capacity?
With?
Capacity. Limitations with capacity.
It's not for me, it's for RWE. We can transfer as much as you need. No, there is no limitation, only the grid. If we will get from the grid the amount of energy, we can transfer it.
So how many buses could you, let's say today, if you had to drive?
We can do the whole city. But we...
Because I'm worried, because if you go fast charging, there's not enough.
It's not... The problem is in fast charging is the battery, not the energy or the electricity grid. Yeah, it's both, but if you have no problem transferring the energy, we will have no problem to shift it to the bus. So,
We have to move on.
last one, or?
Thank you very much, Oren.
Thank you.
A glimpse into the future looks like science fiction, but it's working already in Tel Aviv. Our next company is Elencon. Elencon. And the presenter will be David Wayman.
That's me. I can move it up and down. The slides. Here we go. Press that button there. What?
You can like roll it or press it.
Press it. Okay.
Minutes before, I will like it.
Oh, I see you. You're going to cut my head off if I... Okay, my name is Dave Wyman. I'm the CEO of Elencon. Elencon, by the way, I love Oren's graphics. You're not going to get the same level of graphics. Phenomenal. But we have a great product too, and we are in the field of automated building energy efficiency. And I'm going to explain to you why that is a very important area and what is our particular speciality in that field. I'm not sure you can see that actually, but I've taken, you know where this is? That's Manhattan. The annual cooling bill of Manhattan is enormous. The biggest energy bill of these buildings is in billions. I calculate 2.4 billion. And this is really where the action is. This is why I'm very excited about energy efficiency. And we will save, using our technology, $170 million a year potentially. That technology that we have will be employed by us or by other people to save this kind of monies, and that is really not a revenue figure, that's really a profit figure. Now, before I start to explain to you how we actually do this, I want a personal note. This company was founded in 2012, but I met these two people early last year, and I'm a clean tech entrepreneur. I founded a few companies in this particular area, and I love the whole area of clean tech, and I've had 1 or 2 exits. And I've been looking for something in the field of energy efficiency, and I wanted something which was in software, low cost, when it saved a lot. And they are the founders behind Converge, one of the leading companies in energy demand software that had a major exit in that particular field. And they developed this particular technology for a different area, which is energy efficiency software, very large savings per site, 20%, and a very, very large market. So on the spot, I volunteered to be the CEO. I'm very lucky to say that they accepted me. So how does this technology work? Well, we've got a bunch of algorithms. These algorithms altogether optimize the building parameters. So we look at the whole building as to how it actually works. It's thermodynamics. We do energy calculations. All these algorithms are highly original. And we put on top of that a very clever system of IoT sensors. I've got one of them in my bag over there. And our technology is in what's called the Csms Controller, that particular box. So it's like a computer, and that sits inside of the building, and that produces reports for the building manager. You can see the graph on the bottom right there. The difference between the green and the blue bars is the energy savings that we are achieving. And he will also receive it on his smartphone. Where we've got installation, we've got many installations around the place. We've got office buildings, hospitals. Our latest installations, bottom right, there's a visitor here from Amsterdam past here. Visit that place there. That's the Marriott Hotel. We just got our latest installation there. And there's very high savings. There's 29% of the cooling system. But possibly the biggest area that we are out of those particular markets, because we can save in all buildings, is offices. We like offices, it's a big market. And not only that, it's relatively easy to save because they're cost-driven office owners. And in New York, there are nearly 2,000 of these buildings. So there's really a lot of them. What is this all about? I mean, I want to actually emphasize something, particularly in America. People say, oh, this is just a software package. I want to emphasize something. We are not BMS, we're not BEMS. What is BMS? Every new building in the world, major building, has a building management system. These systems which are sold, and a lot of good companies sell them, companies like Siemens and Johnson and Honeywell, these companies manage, these systems manage the buildings, and they produce information to enable the building managers to service and operate the buildings more efficiently. But they're management and diagnostics. There are very few companies in the world which actually do automation, about 4 of them. And of those 4, we're the only ones which work on top of the chiller, where we think the cooling system itself, where really the most savings can be undertaken. So that is how we are different. We're automated, not BMS. How are we actually going to get into the market? Well, we are particularly interested in the New York office market. That's a particular emphasis. We have partners in that market already, installers. There's a finance company, Dual Assets, also marketing companies. And there's a very big business in the whole field of ESCO upgrades. So I'll give you a very simple example. If you have a building in New York and you want to have your cooling system upgraded, then Johnson will give you a new chiller system and you'll get finance for that. But if you want to have that system, it will cost you millions. For our system, we'll get the same savings, 25%, at a fraction of the cost. Sorry? Okay, you give me okay, so we have partners in GE and Motorola. I didn't see you, actually. I'm sorry. I didn't get cutting my head off. So I'm talking to the audience down there. So please allow me 1 more minute, and I'll go through the last sections here. We have a business model here where you can either save through energy savings or a multiple of annual savings. We have already raised $1 million. We're looking for another $1 million. And the last slide really just emphasizes what we are. We're a very low-cost solution. It is proven. Very important. It actually works. We have many, many sites, and there's enormous energy potential. Thank you for your indulgence. Yes, yes.
What is really the source of the saving? I don't understand.
Yeah, a lot of people ask this. I can't answer the technical questions now. It won't work. If you start explaining algorithms and how LoRaWAN IoT sensors work, then it just, please talk to me afterwards. I'll go through all the technology.
Basically information, I guess.
This is it's algorithmic systems. It's a software system with clever sensors. But we are building optimizing. It's not analytics, this is an automated system that's the opposite. By the way, just a little fact, I'm going to add this. This building is an energy sensitive building. Okay, there's lots of energy features. I saw some Chinese people outside, been taken around and showed how wonderful the energy features are. Our system employed today will save 60% of the energy consumption of this building by tomorrow. I'll explain to you afterwards, when you see me, why that is true. It's an unusual statistic, 60%, and I'll tell you why. It's unusual, much more than anything. I'll just switch on the air conditioning. There is air conditioning on right now, but Eitan, I think you're guessing what the answer is. Extraordinary, but that's a fact.
You don't learn the specific building.
Yes?
You do learn it, or you...
We learn it.
Yeah, or you apply generally...
No, we actually, that is important. See, what is happening in the whole field of buildings, there are some efforts to actually do some sophistication. But right now, because of the concepts of algorithms and computer power, you can really get a much higher level of building intelligence without compromising the comfort of the people in the building itself. We're just we're leading a wave of building intelligence companies which will be standard. And our technology, along with others, will save a high percentage of all the energy in this world. And it'll really affect climate change substantially, yes.
Will save, or are you saving? Do you have any testimony from current customers of yours that show the nice numbers that you're not willing to tell us how they work?
I'm willing to tell you how you work, we just haven't got the time to do it. She'll cut my head off. But if all these buildings... yes, these buildings, we would be happy to. They are there, and you can actually get the testimonies from them. And we have a demo site at the university. You can come see it and see it physically. Happy to take you to Holon and actually show you around.
We are okay?
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, David, father of energy savings. This building indeed is considered one of the most environment friendly around the world. Now Farm Dog with Liron Brish. בבקשה.
So actually, my name is Michael Herman, and Liron couldn't make it today. He's abroad talking to some big companies, agricultural companies. So I'm a chief of product and co-founder of Farm Dog. We build a precision agriculture solution for pest and disease management. So basically, growers all over the world spend about 20% of their expenses on pesticide, or means to control pest and disease. And yet about a third of the crops are thrown away due to loss from pest and disease. If you think that's a lot, it is. It's a lot. And it's a true pain point for the growers. So for folks out here that are didn't grow up on a farm, I'll give you a word of a background how this works. Basically, farmers employ scouts, pest scouts. These are professionals or experts that are trained to identify pest and disease in the field. They go out into the fields every week, at least once or twice, to look for pest and disease. They then write down what they find on paper. And they hand that paper to growers at the end of the day, and the growers have to take that information and their memory and then make decisions on which treatments they want to use to manage the pest and disease in their fields. So we're here basically to revolutionize and basically disrupt this industry. And that's what we're doing right now. We're using software. We're actually building a mobile app and a web dashboard. which is, first of all, letting the scout enter his findings into his phone and georeference them, add pictures, extra information, all data that is conveyed in real time to the grower. We are tightening the communication between the scout and his other teammates in the scouting team and with the grower, and helping him meet the compliance standards with the regulatory agencies. Based on the data that we're collecting, growers can now finally see trends in the pest and disease in their fields, and which of the treatments that they're using is actually being effective, and how and when they want to actually spray. So essentially, we're helping growers reduce the amount of pesticide that they're using and minimize their crop loss. So we're building basically a system of record. It's the first standardized and comprehensive database of pest and disease out in agriculture, which is based on the inputs from our users and open and public data sources. We're using tools to communicate and report among all the stakeholders involved in the process, and data analytics tools. So for example, a scout that's out in the field uses his phone in order to know which fields, we're actually enabling him to know which fields he has to go visit now, and where he has to look for it, and what he has to look for, and what it all looks like. We're helping growers take all that data and then pull insights out of that information that's collected. We're helping government in mostly Florida, California, and Israel to figure out the trends of pest and disease development over time and space in the regions that they are governing. This is an example of a grower that has been using our system for the last few months, where you can see that the lines basically describe the trends of pest and disease when they come and go from the fields, and the R's in the bottom show the spray treatments that are being used against the pest and disease. And through this platform, the grower was able to see for the first time ever the trends and to see which of his treatments were effective and which weren't, and then he was able to choose what to use next and be more smart and choose his treatments according to data-driven information. So we're around with this product for less than 6 months, but already we have over 60 scouts using our platform that are scouting over 80,000 acres, which have crops and the value of about $160 million. Among our partners are Glaze Crop Care, which are the largest scouting company in the world based in Florida, and other large farms such as Wish Farms, which are the largest strawberry grower in Florida. Our app is free for data input and for basic functionality, and is priced by a SaaS pricing for people who want to use more advanced modules. Our team has a wealth of experience, including Liron, who, which I mentioned, is out of the country. He couldn't come today. Ex-McKinsey veteran, and myself and the team are all R&D and product people. And we're very proud of our advisory board, which includes Carol Jett, who is a former Deputy Chief of Staff of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Dr. Charles Mellinger, who is a co-owner of the largest scouting company in the world, and Eliza Tamir, who is the former Chief Marketing Officer of Nitafim. Together, we all work to build a farm dog and help growers use less pesticide and reduce their crop loss. Thank you. Yeah.
It's only for open fields or also for greenhouses and
so
experience with cannabis greenhouses?
Yeah. Yeah, the question is does the platform work only for open fields or also for greenhouses or, for example, cannabis? Cannabis is a fun industry that we're also looking into. Basically, we're agnostic to the type of farming, whether if it's hydroponics, if it's open field, greenhouse, tent house. It doesn't matter. It's also one of the ways that we're different from all of people that are also working in this field. Our system doesn't really care where you are and how you're growing. It's generic enough to accommodate any type of growing, and also any type of crop. Yes?
So you rely heavily on the input of the agronomist. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So the question is, do we rely heavily on the input of agronomists? Yes, we do not claim to be smarter than agronomists in the field. We're only a platform that enables crowd wisdom and basically sourcing information from different people. Then together they can create a network of knowledge, and that can then produce insights for everybody in the region. we actually work in a region-based mechanism because farming and climate is region-based in any event. So it has to be that way. So yeah, we basically only a platform to provide the input and then the analysis of data from experts out in the field. Yes?
So I have two questions. One is technically, what kind of platforms do you apply? Not so much on the software, but more on the sensing.
Okay, the question is what kind of platforms do we apply? So basically, we are only software. We don't use hardware at all. We don't replace the scout out in the field. There's still a guy going out every day or every other day into fields to look for pest and disease. And he's an expert, and he has to actually physically break off corn ears and look for worms and turn over leaves and look with his microscope looking for aphids and all kinds of different types of pests. We can't replace that. But instead of him writing that stuff down on a piece of paper and then handing it in and then not having a history and not a way to analyze all of that, he now logs it onto his phone with a few taps, and it's all synced with everybody, and data and insights are pulled out automatically for everybody that's involved in that process.
And what other systems are available to do that?
So the question is about competition. So basically, we identified two relevant players in this industry. One is out of Brazil called Strider. The other one is out of the Midwest called Open Scout. They're called Biotech. And they, so Biotech focuses on traps. That's basically a way where you put pheromones and you try to attract all kinds of pests and then count how many were stuck to your pheromone trap. And the folks in Brazil are, well, they're mostly Latin American at the moment, and their product is okay, but they're far less advanced than what we're working on. We don't see them, anybody as real competition to us because we're really focused on the scout out in the field, and we're not as trap-oriented as the folks out in the Midwest. Yeah? Oh. Go ahead.
How much savings is there applying the herbicides, insecticides and fungicides percentage-wise with your platform?
How many sightings?
What is the saving?
Oh, saving.
The farmer in percentages of the amount of herbicides, fungicides and insecticides that they're using. Is there a calculation?
So the question is, what's basically how much are we saving the farmer in terms of the pesticide that he's applying? Since we only started out a few months ago and we're actually in use only in the last 4 months, I don't have an accurate figure, but so far it looks like, and also based on some of the experience we had, it looks like they're already reducing their use and they're fine-tuning their selection, their choice of treatments to be more efficacious treatments. So the literature, academic literature, says somewhere between 10 to 30% of savings, and but you know, it's yet to be seen.
We have to move on.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Michael. Michael, this farm dog is attacking the problem from one side, but I'm sure some of you heard of the ugly fruits and vegetable movement, and there are some chains in the UK and in France which celebrate on ugly fruits and vegetables. Our next company is Brad Green, and it will be presented by both of you? Okay.
Hi, everyone. We are the co-founders of Brad Green. I'm Sigalit, and this is my colleague, Erez. He's the CTO. And we're here because 4 years ago, we were looking for an apartment in another neighborhood. We were looking for some environmental information and couldn't find any relevant information. So it was very, very disturbing, and that's how we started Brad Green. And Brad Green's mission is to enable every company, every building or school or municipality of all sizes to monitor its air and to give better air quality and better public health for its citizens. So we are doing that by monitoring gases, radiation, noise, and air quality in one single platform, IoT, cloud-based. So the pain is that you already heard today, 7 million premature deaths are linked to air quality, and it's a disaster annually. And now environmental monitoring legacy stations are very expensive, they're big, they demand high maintenance, and therefore there are only limited deployments by governments, by tier 1 companies, and that's only about 5% of the market. While indoors, there's another problem with poor air quality that causes loss of employee health and days of working, therefore poor productivity. And that is what Radgreen is about to change. So why now? This is Radgreen times now. Because public awareness is arising, also regulation, EHS standards and ISO standards, Smart City, COP21, soon COP22, and the IoT and big data that enables all this revolution. So this is the storm now. Ares.
I will explain about the system architecture. Actually, it's composed from two parts. One of them is the sensor, and the other part is the cloud-based software that we have a lot of analytics that we are doing on the sensors. The sensor is sending the information into the cloud-based server by legacy communication like cellular and Wi-Fi. Now we're working with Deutsche Telekom on a narrowband IoT radio that will enable us to transfer all the information very cost effectively and working on battery. If the cloud-based software gather all the information, and if there is an abnormal reading from the sensor, it sends an email, an SMS to the person in charge. We're also doing a lot of deep analytics on the data. We have exclusive sensors that we develop ourselves. It's a unified system for a lot of types of sensors. And what we are doing, we can achieve a 1:100 ratio between the legacy system with our technology that makes the sensor information very reliable, very accurate. How we are doing this? We are doing it by comprise few sensors in one box and use synergy between the sensors. The gas sensor, the CO2 sensor, is also detecting CO and ammonia. And this is why you have a synergy between the sensors. So we can get a very good information like the legacy stations that will eliminate false positive alarm and false negative alarm that are very, very important to our customers. This is one part. The other part is we are using IBM Cognitive System. We are part of IBM Accelerator. We're using IBM Cognitive Computing in order to give recommendation instead of data. Our partners told us, don't give us the data, give us a recommendation, what we should do in a case of a problem, in a case of pollution. We have 2 patents that we apply to the USPTOS provisional regarding our technology for the sensors and for the computing technology.
So customer segmentation is lots of segments actually. So it's a world of possibilities. I will just mention companies, municipalities, and transportation, military of course. But we're going to focus on 2 beachheads right now. It's a long-hanging fruits in Israel, high-tech and smart and green buildings here in Israel, and in parallel, municipalities. We already have deployed with Tyco Johnson Controls the smart building solution. You can see it here in the picture. And and in municipalities, we already have some deployments and also a pilot running with Bezek for Smart City. Bezek would like to be the integrator for Smart City in Israel. So we're penetrating both beachheads with local distributors. Some of our customers, both from the 2 beachheads, municipalities and companies. Our revenue model have 3 streams, sales, SaaS, and data, which we are now developing, and all sales and services are going to be deployed with the integrators. Just a minute. So I don't have much time, so I'll run on it. We are approaching the 95% of the market, which is not approached now by the legacy systems, and we're looking now to raise $1 to $1.5 million. And thank you for listening to us.
Much.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, please.
The need is understood, but
who will pay for that system? I mean, you're expecting that more than the regulator, some municipality or army or whatever will be ready to pay for it?
Yes, it's happening, actually.
Yeah.
You can see that.
You can see it in the slide. We have companies like Corning and other companies that today paying for the system that we are installing and buying each year more sensors to their facilities. You have municipalities like Petach Tikva and Kiryat Ona and other cities that are doing in Israel. We are about to sign a contract with Bezek in order to distribute our solution here in Israel, in order to learn all the things that we need to go to larger integrators that we are in contact with them, like Tyco and Johnson Control and other big integrators like Deutsche Telekom. Those companies also are interesting for those systems. So as we mentioned here, it's between $500 to $2,000. It's a $100 to $200 to the legacy system that they are using today. The legacy system costs $200,000, $300,000.
It's not for apartment. It is not for the private person.
No, it's a B2B, only B2B. Yes, for building smart building city. Yes. Sorry?
No.
We said not yet. We don't know. We don't know. But no, it's come from radiation field. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the Health Department of Israel interested in the amount of radiation that's coming out of the towers?
Yeah, can you repeat it just there?
Is
yeah.
the health authorities of Israel
Yeah.
interested in the amount of radiation that the towers are emitting
Yeah.
from the mobile signals, that you're collecting that data as well?
Well, actually, it's not about the health authorities, it's the environmental authorities, and they do keep track of that, yes.
We are in contact with them. They have full recommendation about our solution. Since it's innovative, it's cheap, it can be implemented. So if you give them a call, they can recommend it on our solution to implement. Yes, please. Anyone else? Last question? Yes?
So, two questions. One
Yes.
is, what type of gases can you sense? Can you sense everything? Because it seems like
No.
radiation, air quality, and so on. And what kind of area should you scan? Is it 2 meters away? Is it a kilometer away?
So for the first question, today we already implemented a CO and CO2 gases, CO for the outdoor because it's come from vehicles, and CO2 is come from people inside buildings, so implemented those two gases. On our roadmap is to implement ammonia and benzene that are also very important. This is our gases family. We have also the pollution particles in air, noise, and radiation. All the time, the measurement is at the point that the detector sits, and we have a very good dynamic range and sensitivity. It means it can be for, let's say, a floor, indoor or outdoor. It can be, 200, 300, 500 meter by 500 meter. This is the places. We will be happy to answer for more questions outside. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I would like to announce that all companies and all judges should come to room number 302 for the judging session that will begin at 17:55. All right? 302. Our next speaker is Roy Wiesner, CEO of Hutchison Kinroth Israel, and Roy will speak about trends and opportunities. Thank you, Roy.
Hi, everyone. Hear me? So basically what's in common for all the companies here that they will ultimately or already all look to obtain financing in one way or another. So I thought it would be interesting for them and also for the other entrepreneurs here maybe to take a moment, have a look at the trends that's been going on globally in terms of financing of clean tech companies. So let me jump straight into the slides, which I have graciously borrowed from CleanTech Group, I3, but I took a few slides just to talk about them. So I think you see in the first slide over here that The bad news is that you see sort of a declining trend in terms of the number of deals globally. There has been a bit of an uptick if you look at 2016, but on the whole, if you look at that orange graph, which represent the number of deals, you see that the numbers of deals has been declining over the past few years. Now, this one doesn't break it down between later stage funding and earlier stage funding, but actually later stage funding, which when we talk about B rounds and later on, is about 55 to 60%. So it's even worse news in a sense for earlier stage startups. On the brighter side, you can see that the total number, total amount of financing has actually been reaching, I wouldn't say it's a record high, but it's really been as high as it was over the past 4 or 5 years. So that's the $2.8 billion number. And then, so if, for example, we look at, the number of 234 deals, out of which around 100 deals were early stage financing. If you look at the average amount of financing, it's around $12 million. But again, it's skewed by the number of later stage. So if you look at the earlier stage financing, it's around $4 million. And then if we look globally, we can see that, and it's not here on the graph, but that about 70% of all deals have taken place in the US, around 20% are in Europe and Israel, and 8% in Asia. So at the end of the day, it sort of leaves a rather small amount if we look at from our small perspective as Israeli companies. So that begs the question of which sectors actually get the money. I do not assume that people necessarily seek to invent just in the sectors that are, the trendiest at the moment, but it is worth to understand where things stand. So again, I think we need to break it down between two different elements. One is in respect of the total deal volume, so the number of deals, and then also look at the dollar figures. And you can see a certain discrepancy in that respect. So what you see here, and this chart has taken from there all the large mobility financing rounds. So we're not talking about the Ubers and that of the world, because that will completely skew the figures here. But you can see that sort of over time, you really see the sharp increase in transportation. So I forgot which startup here was in the transportation area, but certain that one hits a chord. You see agriculture and food really making a very strong presence. Then you see how solar has been gradually declining, a rebound of sorts in energy storage, and then again you see here energy efficiency, which is also going quite strong. When you look at the deal numbers in terms of dollars, you see suddenly how transportation actually takes quite a big chunk of the money, and then that's followed by food and agriculture and the other things that are listed here. So sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a large number of deals in a certain sector that actually translate into a large amount of dollars. And that actually may also be, I think you see lower, I think Mickey here also mentioned the issue of valuation. Sometimes you see lower valuation that also impacts the amount. It may be that you get the financing based on reaching certain milestones. So that again decreases the number. So there are various elements related to that. This is just for the third quarter of 2016. It's you see the entire pie chart So there are also sectors here which were not represented on the other slides. If we look at water, for example, or even hydro and marine power. Again, I think it's interesting to look at that. I won't go into now each and every sector specifically, but certainly, for each one of you here, they will look at the one which is of interest to them and either be discouraged or feel very hopeful. But you can basically see, again, that you have the transportation, food and agriculture, energy storage, energy efficiency are the main ones. Then there is also the question of who is investing. And here you see, and again, it's RWE, or in their new name, INOG, represent corporate venture capital. And you can see that over the past few years, the participation by corporate venture capital has been increasing in clean tech, which I think is interesting and it's good news. Actually, over the past quarter, they have taken part in about 1/3 of all clean tech venture deals, which is significantly higher than the average historical trend of around 20%. But you can also see the venture capital, traditional VCs also coming back into the mix. So in that sense, I think that's actually positive news. So now turning to us, by us I mean Hutchison Kinroth, I thought it's worth showing you the type of deals that we've done over the past quarter, to pick 2 of these deals, and because they actually also relate and reflect the trends that I talked about before. So the first investment that we've made was in a company called Hydropy. The company is stated here, it's a very early stage startup, and it focuses on the improvement of RO membranes for the desalination industry. So on the one hand, it's related to water industry, but then it's actually an advanced materials company, because the way they do that is by modifying the membrane in a certain kind of way and using certain unique additive materials, which really improves the energy efficiency, and energy is a very large component in terms of the cost of the desalination process. So that's one investment we've made in the advanced material space. Then another investment that we've made was in industrial biotech, and I noted in the first bullet point as general trend, it's not just relating to us, but it's also globally, where you see a shift. It used to be that industrial biotech really focused on biofuels, but you see recently a shift away from biofuels, which may have to do with a decline in oil prices, or also the long time it takes to really implement the technology in the industry, and the shift towards startups that deal with agriculture, with chemical, with food and nutrition. And we've made actually investment in a company that sort of combines all these three. It's called Triple W. What they take is something that it's really turning waste to treasure, trash to treasure, because they take waste streams from municipal and agricultural waste, and they turn it into bioplastics. So today, a lot of times, to manufacture bioplastics, the lactic acid, they use food, actual food. So instead of feeding people with that food, they grow that food in order to create bioplastic. Why not take the waste stream itself and turn the waste stream, save the environment by not having to throw this into the earth, and use that to create bioplastic. So that's another investment that we made. And then just to show you the range of sectors that we look to invest in, because really at the end of the day, our investment philosophy is that we are quite eclectic. I mean, we are interested in interesting stuff, in good things, in sharp and motivated entrepreneurs. So you can see here a range of areas in which we invest. One company called O2 Waterator is in the space of, it's food and agriculture, it's actually in aquaculture. Today, most of the protein in the world will come from fish, not from meat. So they create a new type of aeration system, what creates and brings the oxygen into the water. And this is a revolutionary system that is actually operated by water pressure rather than by electricity, unlike other systems. A company in the smart home space, easy power lines. As written here, it's a combination of safety on the one hand and prevention of from electrocution in the home, and also a very unique smart home architecture, which is has a lot of innovation in it because it doesn't operate by the usual format of a star-shaped configuration with a central brain. Then we are also active in the area of digital water. We have company in the area of leak detection, as well as a company that harvests the energy created by the water stream itself to create the energy that powers the sensors and the data loggers that today are increasingly implemented into the smart water networks around the world. We have company here, actually the two entrepreneurs, a company by the name of Mercury Removal, technology taken from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. They do a patented, a very novel and patented technology to remove mercury from flue gas emissions. In a way that instead of the current way, which really transfers the problem from one place to another, they completely can do away without any byproduct. So they can capture the mercury, which is extremely harmful, from the air and reduce it back to its liquid state. So who we are, usually people start with that. I finish with actually, hey, who am I? So we are part of CK Hutchison Holdings. It's a very large Hong Kong publicly traded company with operations around the world in over 50 countries. As you can see here, a very large number of employees with a very diverse operations from being the largest port operator in the world and property and hotels and retail to infrastructure, including waste treatment, including having utilities companies, electricity, water, and energy, telecommunication. Here in Israel, used to they actually set up a partner when it just started out. So we are part of a very large conglomerate, and that's also part of what we can offer the companies that join us. And we are an incubator, so we operate under the Chief Scientist Incubator Program. We constantly look for new ideas for entrepreneurs that really want to change the world. And if you have anything around clean tech, really come to us, talk to us. We're eager to hear you and to provide you with the entire platform. We're very hands-on, so anything we touch on, from the R&D and the IP to business development and the marketing. And I welcome you to either approach me or my two colleagues, Gaia and Dotan, who are also here with us today, and talk to us. So thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you, Ro'i. How tall do you have to be to join Hutchison Kinroth?
6'4".
Right. Well, we spoke about the difficulty in fundraising in clean tech, and hence we have 3 investment bodies on stage today. We just heard Hutchison Kinroth, we heard Innogy, and in the second part, which Avi Feldman will lead, you'll hear about Capital Nature. The other thing that is common to clean tech companies is joint ventures. And this is one of the topics that we will discuss in the second part of the program. Eitan Yudelevich of Bird Foundation is an expert on joint ventures. This is mainly what the Bird Foundation does. And they have actually opened a new fund that specializes on clean tech. Is that right? All right. So if you want to talk to Eitan or Avi, grab them during the break. We will reconvene here at 20 past.